All right, welcome everybody. So we're back with another S&N show. So we're gonna rate movies on number of whips. I'm Kyle Nordwall. This
I'm Jonathan Santini.
absolutely, he's the N. No, he's the S. Jonathan gets top billing.
I got top billing. So.
Yeah, which is cool. I'm okay with that. I can hide in the shadows a little bit and.
It's I'm starting off, but you ended strong. So
Yes, I like it. Cool. Okay, so brand new episode for you guys. This is technically our fourth movie that we've watched. We're doing it a little bit different this time because we're gonna see how the formula goes, how we evolve into this mighty beast called the S&N Show. So we actually discussed it a little bit beforehand. So we're gonna see if we enjoy that method, or if we're going to go back to where we don't discuss it beforehand and then just show up and cover our points on the cuff, so to speak. But so tell everybody what movie did we watch, and then give like a I think we're both committed to like not doing spoilers, but so tell them what we just watched and what the general plot is.
okay. So we watched Susperia, but the 2018 version, not the original version from the 70s by Dario Argento.
Yes.
And long story short, it is based in Cold War Germany. There's a dance studio, and there's an American student who comes to the dance studio, and everything doesn't appear as it seems in the dance studio. And then by the end of the movie, you're like, oh my God.
That is actually a brilliant synopsis. And I guess because the previews do make it pretty obvious, there is some witchery involved.
Yeah, yes, witchery.
Yes. There's
yes.
a heavy dose of witchism in this movie.
Yeah.
And a heavy dose of Tilda Swinton. And to be honest, so I don't think either of us have seen the original. Is that right?
No, I have not. I'm familiar with Dario Argento. I've seen some of his other stuff, but not Suspiria. So, which is probably his most famous. So.
All right. Yeah, and I had. Oh wait, no, I have seen the original, but I was so young, and I don't know if I made it to the ending because I was probably 12 or 13. I don't know. I wasn't like a movie aficionado back then, so I think I just caught parts of it. That's right, but I don't know say his name again. That director from the
Dario Argento.
Yeah, so I don't even know that name. Now that you say it, it sounds like he's a popular guy with some in the horror scene of the 70s.
Yeah. He did a bunch of horror films, and he's Italian, so it was like this different take on horror at the time. So good stuff. Highly recommend. From what I've seen anyway. So.
Cool. So I will say this. Okay, so when Jonathan suggested this movie, I had already seen it, but I was like, hey, but I would love to watch it again because it's one of these movies that I felt I would benefit from a second viewing. And I already rated it once on IMDb 6 months ago or whenever I watched it. And interestingly enough, my score remained the same after the second viewing, and we'll go into that later. Also of note, the reviews on IMDb were very split. I don't know if you noticed this, Jonathan, but there was a lot of reviews that were praising the movie, Tilda Swinton and the other actors and actresses, and the visuals got a lot of praise. And then I read a lot of scathing reviews saying compared to the original, what the heck is this? No direction, it was boring. It was just a waste of film. I'm forgetting some of the more colorful reviews, but yeah, those are pretty scathing reviews. And all in all, I'm really curious to go back and watch the original. Not to judge them against, because I like remakes. Some I'll never see, but I like. Heck, got a cool plot. Let's make it. Let's redo it. But I'm very curious to go watch the original at some point and really pay attention to it.
Yeah, no, me too. I definitely want to check it out now. And yeah, the good thing about remakes is to see at that point in time, like what people choose to focus on versus
Yeah.
like do they focus on like the political nature of something or the visuals or like what, like it says a lot about time basically for me, and it's kind of a clue into why now versus later and all that fun stuff. So it's like a little puzzle for me. And there's so many things about this film that are just like, holy fuck, that I don't know why. Well, there should be more remakes of this for sure, because to maybe lead into it a little bit, there are some universal themes that I wanted to talk about. And the first one was the mother stuff. There's a lot of mom. There's like the girl who goes to the dance studio in Germany. Her mom's dying, but she has no guilt. But then she meets Tilda Swinton, who's another mother figure. And then throughout the film, there's pictures of Tilda Swinton with this other mysterious woman who's her mother. And there's like this mother triangle, and it's really interesting. And yeah, the whole dance studio is women. There is no men. And no men, which is also very, very cool, very interesting. Yeah, it's a theme that really, I think, really makes it powerful. Because one of the things we spoke about is how men are depicted in the film, which maybe if you want to talk about that, which I thought was really interesting. So
yeah, cool. And brilliant segue. I love it. So, yeah, and we just kind of hashed this out when, a few minutes ago when we were talking before recording this. So like I said, it's my second time watching the movie, and it seems like, so most of the story takes place from within the dance studio. And that's, like Jonathan was saying, it's all women, right? The instructors, the leadership, and then of course the dancers. And it seemed to me like the outside world symbolized the masculine. And because it was in Germany during which war, which time period?
It was Cold War, so like 60s, 70s. Basically, it was East and West Germany. So.
Gotcha. Okay, East and West Germany. Yeah, and it was talking about war, and some of the characters had to, cross the border and show their documents and this kind of stuff. But it seemed like this cold, hard, masculine, gray kind of atmosphere outside, and then on the inside of the studio is this very feminine, colorful, lots of color. Dance,
vibrant.
Vibrant, mysterious, witch-like. So it's pretty cool. Now, having seen it twice and then rehashing it with Jonathan here, noticing that contrast. And I was thinking, as I was watching the movie this time, if I was like a feminist, I'd be like totally digging it, because it's funny, the witches, there's like this feeling of like just leisure play. I mean, it's deadly, so it's not like little girl play, but it's like the witches have nothing to fear. Like they know their power, and they just play, and they don't really take anything too seriously except whatever mission they're on, so to speak, which is that's the ending of the movie, so we're not going to give that away. But yeah, I remember thinking like, wow, if I was a power hungry feminist, I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. And to that point too, also the depiction of the men of the film, not only is the psychologist, like in the beginning of the film, he's like the authority figure. He's an older gentleman. He's helping one of the girls from the studio. And then his progression through the film becomes one of authority to basically like almost a child at the end. Like the positions he's filmed and all this stuff. He's, I mean, you could say emasculated, but, if we're going to go on the feminism tip. And also, too, there's cops. There's cops that get brought in because some of the weird stuff that's going on. And yeah, even from just the depiction of the male characters from the outside, from this masculine sort of feeling, setup, and then they come in and they're just completely completely emasculated.
Yes.
So yeah.
Well, so I'm gonna give my score right now. And it was interesting to go back and see that I already scored it when it first came out. And this is a Netflix production, so it didn't go to the theaters, unless I'm wrong. Yeah, I think it just went straight to Netflix.
Yeah, I think so too. Roma was the one that was one of the first that went to theaters. I think.
Which one?
A film called Roma. Roma, R-O-M-A. Anyway,
is that a Netflix movie that actually went to the theater?
Exactly. Yeah, and that was after. I'm pretty sure it was after Susperia. So.
Gotcha. Okay, so I gotta enter a side note real quick, just on what we're talking about, because. So I don't know if you saw this, but oh crap, who's the Avatar guy?
James Cameron.
James Cameron, yeah. So he was interviewed recently, and he was saying he was actually relieved that the latest Avengers Endgame dethroned Avatar as the all-time top-grossing movie in the history of movies. And he wasn't relieved for the reason you might think, like, oh, it was too much pressure or whatever. He doesn't care about that, but he was relieved because he was stoked that enough people still find value of going to the movies in as he put it, a dark room, usually cold, with a bunch of strangers. So he loves that people still find enough value to go out to see movies when the streaming options are ridiculous. Every movie's available. And for the movies we miss in the theater, it's like waiting 2 or 3 months, and all of a sudden it's going to be streaming on some platform, soon. I think John Wick 3 is already streaming out there, and that just came out a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just think that's interesting because things are changing for sure with the whole all this streaming and versus live in the movie theaters. But without further ado, so I gave this movie 8 whips.
8 whips. Okay.
I really enjoyed the movie. One of the main things I base movies on and how I score or grade or whatever is entertainment. Like, how entertained am I? And I could also go off on the acting and the script writing and stuff like this, and the atmosphere. But I just thought it was very entertaining. There was. And it's a long movie. It's like 2.5 hours, isn't it? 2 hours, 20 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, close to 2.5.
Yeah, and because it's that long, there might have been a couple times where I shifted my position in the couch to get comfortable again. But overall, I was just really fixated on the storyline, the character development, trying to figure out just what in the world is happening. Because it seems like a big move for being just a few characters, or just basically the dance studio and then a little bit outside, for being such a tight group of characters. It still has this epic feel to it. So it helped to watch it a second time to really wrap my head around the progression of characters and the storyline. But I found it very entertaining. I would see it again maybe at some point if I have a friend that hasn't seen it yet and they wanted to watch it. I loved it. Tilda Swinton, I just love her. My favorite actor going right now. But yeah, I thought it was beautiful, great story, and entertaining. So 8 whips.
8 whips for you.
Yes.
I will give it 8.5 whips.
All right.
And for me, I agree with you. It was completely entertaining. I was at the edge of my seat because I was like, what's going on? And I think the quality of it was really good. I will go into acting. I think everyone acted very well. And just how it was shot, I do think there was a lot put into just the feeling, the vibe, and that helped accentuate the overall feeling of the film. It really enhanced it, I would say. For me, you don't need to have the I'm trying to think of the term for it, but the setting and whatnot be always enhance it, go along with the narrative, but it surely helps. It really, really helps. So I think that was a big thing for me. And the fact that I'm still thinking about it is also another reason. Why I don't give it a 10 is because I just feel, I don't, I guess I think it's more of what I deem like a 10 film. It's not in that category. So like there are some themes like the mother stuff, and there are some other universal themes that I can relate to that really make it interesting. But at the end of the day, I'm like, it's still a horror film, and although there are 10 horror films, I do feel that this one, I don't know, there's just I don't know, something missing from it. So.
Yeah, I love seeing the differences in how you and I rate movies. Like for me, an 8 or 8.5 is almost like saying I didn't see any faults with it. You know what I mean? Like, and the only reason, like, I have a funny definition of the word mediocre. Like to me, mediocre means it's acceptable. You know what I mean? And this is far above mediocre. Like,
For sure.
It's a rare movie that's going to get 10. And there's some movies that are 10s that maybe I wasn't as entertained with movies that I grade as an 8, you know? But 10 is just like something magical about it, firing on all cylinders. It moved me deeply, you know? So if I'm rating something 8 or above, I'm basically saying there aren't any faults with it, but it just maybe lacked the magic unicorn pixie dust to get the 10, you know? But it was 8 and above is great.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think for me, a 10 film is like, did you see Inception?
Yes.
So like when they go to the third level and they like go in to he goes to meet the dad, this I will spoil, even though we're not, you know, he goes in and meets the dad and then they figure it all out and then everything, you know, goes backwards again. Like that for me is like, it touches that magic spot, you know, the little like dink, and you're like, oh, I get it. And that's a 10 for me. Like you got to go 3 levels down and and then you get the 10 film for me. So
when you get that many layers of tight script writing, where it can be this multi-universe kind of thing with layers upon layers of dreams in this example you're giving, and have it be that tight at the end. That's one of the things I see in 10 films. Cool. And ultimately, I compare everything to The Princess Bride. Princess Bride is the ultimate 10 movie, in my opinion.
Hey, lady.
Oh, man, I mean, there's nothing bad you could say about The Princess Bride. But that's just me.
No, it's pretty great.
So,
anything else?
Let me think. I feel like there is. So, the character, the psychologist, the male psychologist, I was surprised. I was, surprised how integral of a character he was. I mean, he even got the final scene.
Yeah.
You know, there was, you know, watching it, you already hit on it, but watching him go from sort of like the elder, the wise, the logical, down to not, down to just like, you know, reality ain't what I thought kind of thing was pretty cool to watch. Did you see the 5-second little bonus scene at the end of the credits?
No, I did not. So. Oh, well, I will go back. I will get even more value out of my Amazon Prime subscription.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Amazon Prime, not Netflix.
Oh, yeah. I missed that. But yeah, it's Amazon Prime. So.
Yeah.
And I want to add one thing to that is the psychologist is, I would say, kind of representative of us being society, being you know, look how bleak things are on the outside and look how vibrant things are in the inside in a way, although it is not the best place to be either, in my opinion.
No.
But I do think it's very representative of where we think things are and where they could be, which is a thing I like about horror, how it's a great way to talk about just something different, like to get you out of your perspectives of what you think is right. But, you know, really at the end of the day, we don't really know. So.
Yeah, totally. Like, and so, yeah, I would say his character was like analytical, logical. There aren't things like spirits or ghosts or anything like this. And when he heard the girl, this didn't give me anything away, but when he was, one of the first scenes when the girl was talking, you know, fearfully and like what's the word I'm looking for here? Nervous and agitated and whatever. You saw his notes, and it basically said, "Yep, delusional." Da 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 da. Like he already made his mind up. It reminds me of at least the TV show Sherlock Holmes, the one with Doctor Strange.
Oh, Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch, yeah. There's this theme in there where Sherlock Holmes is the same way. He's like, it has to be logical. It has to, dun, 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 dun. And I like that, showing the different perspectives. And they actually do a really good job of playing those two perspectives in that TV show. But he's very logical, analytical. It must make sense. Like there's no mysticism out there, kind of thing as well.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of the crux of the film. I don't think it's the whole film, but I do think that's like one of the big themes, which I think is awesome, you know, which I really like. And something only horror can really offer you. So
yeah. Right on. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it. Signing off, I'm the N of the S&N. This year is
Jonathan, the S of the S&N. So Santini, Jonathan Santini.
He brings the sexy to the S&N. I bring the nuance.
And Kyle brings the naughty. So
the sexy and the naughty. I love it. All right. Well, signing off for both the sexy and the naughty. Have yourselves a beautiful day and or evening. And until next time, insert our tagline here. So we're going to have a tagline that we'll end the shows with. Until then, ta-da. Oh, well.